Wednesday evening, everybody. Welcome to the OHIO podcast. I am your host, Eric Boggs, aka the Podfather. Good to have you all with us this evening. Hey, do us a big favor if you don't mind. Go ahead and smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Share the show. Share it with your friends, your coworkers, your frenemies. Doesn't matter who you share it with. Let them know. Hey, the OHIO podcast. You should check them guys out. Hey, make sure you also let us know what you think about this show and about our topics tonight in the comments section below, especially if you're watching this after the fact, after it gets posted on YouTube and it's no longer live. We would still love to hear from you as well. Good to have everybody in the chat with us this evening. If you're listening to the podcast, we appreciate you doing so as well. Thank you so much for everybody who downloads the podcast. Take us on the road with you. Take us in your car, maybe at the gym, maybe when you're walking your dog, whatever you're doing. If you listen to the OHIO podcast, we appreciate you taking the time to do so. Joining me this evening, well, you know and love Buck Vader. We're supposed to have Sean with us. Hopefully Sean's getting on here. Sometimes he has some internet troubles. But we got Vader with us. We got Cody Croy with us, and you got me. Cody, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, and where they can follow you.
Well, you can find me at Boomin' Buckeyes. That's Boomin Buckeyes, no G. I'm a senior in high school. I write for the Silver Bulletin, and I'm just a big Buckeye fan, and I just love Buckeye sports.
Yep. Fun fact, Cody's father and I went to school together. So,
It's true.
yeah, it's a true it's a true story. So, Cody is a very up and rising star in this sports media. He's I met him about a year ago, maybe, I think, Cody.
Around a year ago, yes.
Yeah, and we had a great conversation, and I've watched him really excel in media, and he's going to be a force to reckon with down the road. Everybody, he's a great writer, phenomenal writer, and he's really finding his voice in this medium podcasting as well. Guys, you all know him, you love him. He's the insider extraordinaire. Buck Vader's with us tonight. Buck Vader, tell everybody who you are and where they can follow you, big man.
Hey everyone, really excited to be on tonight. You can find me on X under Buck Vader. On all the Ohio podcast platforms. Check out my merchandise. I learned last night on the show almost all Buckeye podcasters have gold pants. I do not have them, but I'm working on it. I would like to take a moment. Today former Buckeye Kirk Barton was sentenced to 5 years in prison. I'm not excusing what he did because what he did is inexcusable. I pray for everyone involved, especially the young man who lost his life and his loved ones. But I owe Kirk and Kim Barton a debt. I didn't know Ohio State podcast existed until I saw Kirk's show. When I wanted to know.
You cut off on us there, Vader.
Hey everyone, really excited to be on tonight. You can find me on X under Buck Vader. On all the Ohio podcast platforms. Check out my merchandise. I learned last night on this show almost all Buckeye podcasters have gold pants. I do not have them, but I'm working on it. I would like to take a moment. Today former Buckeye Kirk Barton was sentenced to 5 years in prison. I'm not excusing what he did because what he did is inexcusable. I pray for everyone involved, especially the young man who lost his life and his loved ones. But I owe Kirk and Kim Barton a debt. I didn't know Ohio State podcast existed until I saw Kirk's show. When I wanted to get involved, Kirk and Kim welcomed me without hesitation. All I am asking is everyone to remember sometimes good people make a bad choice, and his wife and sons shouldn't be published by public auction. I hope Kirk gets the help he needs, and I wish his family nothing but the best lives possible after this terrible tragedy.
Thank you for those kind words, Vader. Appreciate your thoughts. Let's go dive in this evening now to Pro Day that happened over at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. It's one of those things where I don't know about you guys, but I would think if I was an NFL GM, my decision is probably already made up on where I'm going to go in the first round based off of need and the roster that I need to fill. I doubt any decisions are being made at this stage. At least they shouldn't be, in my opinion. But maybe decisions are being confirmed at this stage. That being said, Vader has been on the job all day, getting a lot of great intel about the day that was over at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. We're going to let Buck Vader start us off with his first bit of information about what happened today in Pro Day for some of our former Buckeyes. Go ahead, Vader.
Buckeye Nation. Today, we aren't just talking about what we saw on the TV highlights. I've got something special for you. I was on the phone all afternoon with a very close friend of mine, an NFL scout for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who was right there on the turf for Ohio State's Pro Day. He gave me the real behind-the-curtain look at whose stock is skyrocketing and who might be sliding off draft boards entirely. Let's dive into the guys making moves for this year's draft. Section 1. The Stock Risers. First up, let's talk about the biggest winner of the day. If you're looking for a name that just made himself a lot of money, it's Lorenzo Styles. My source tells me he showed elite, smooth speed, and this was the surprise cover skills and ball tracking that looked way more polished than people expected. The Steelers currently have him graded as a late third to early fourth round lock. Iggy followed suit for many of the same reasons. The athleticism was undeniable, and he's officially entered that first round sleeper conversation. Then there's Max Clare. He showed much better speed and route running than the scouts had on tape. However, the feedback from the NFL side is that his upper body strength and blocking still need work. He's the kind of guy who might have actually benefited from one more year in Columbus, but the tools are there. And let's settle the debate. Carnell Tate's speed is no longer a concern. Period. After today, he is arguably the top receiver in this entire draft class. Caden Curry also shocked people by being better at every single facet of the game than his tape suggested. He's been officially upgraded to a day 2 pick in the eyes of the Pittsburgh staff. Section 2, the Elite Big Five. When you look at the blue chip talent, the message was clear. The Big Five of Reese, Styles, Tate, Downs, and McDonald are all elite NFL talents. All five should be looking at first-round phone calls come draft night. The consistency across that group is just staggering. Section 3, the reality check, the stock fallers. Now, for the tough part. It wasn't a great day for everyone. Malone, Donaldson, Kazmierek, and Ethan all had a rough go of it. According to my source, they tested out below average in almost every category: speed, strength, skill, and explosiveness. The NFL is looking for jacks of all trades when you get into those late rounds, and while these four all have one thing they excel at, they didn't show the versatility needed to stick. Word is the Steelers will most likely be removing all four from their draft board after today's performance. Section 4, the future stars, the buzz. But wait until you hear about the underclassmen and future prospects who stole the show. Brandon Innes looked like a completely different player, refined running techniques, and he looked a full step and a half faster than last season. His routes were crisp. Then there's Julian Sayin. We know about the pinpoint accuracy, but the Steelers scout was most impressed by his improved core strength and, more importantly, his body language. He carries himself like a guy ready to lead this program to a national title. But the name on everyone's lips? Tavian St. Clair. There were 150 scouts there, and they were absolutely blown away by the total package. The size, the mobility, and accuracy that was only a fraction behind Sayin. But the wow factor? The zip. When that ball leaves his hand, it has a velocity we haven't seen in Columbus since Dwayne Haskins. I heard from multiple scouts today, if he keeps this trajectory, St. Clair is a future #1 overall pick. Today was a massive reminder of why the best recruits in the country should be looking at Columbus. The exposure, the NFL connections, and the platform are second to none. If you want to get to the league, this is the place to be.
Thank you, Vader. Man, that was in depth, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lot of, yeah, that was a lot of information there. Welcome to the program, Sean. Good to have you with us.
I apologize for being late. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's all right. You can. Well, I'm not going to finish that statement because after last night's show, anything I would have said right there would have been misconstrued, and
Oh
Mika
my
would have
gosh.
had a field day with it. So we're not going to do that. Let's just go up to. Let's react to the first things he said in this. Thank you again, Vader, for that awesome intel. We appreciate you for that. He said that the name, the stock risers, was Lorenzo Styles Jr. And also, the other two names he gave to us was Davison Igbinosun and Max Clare, um, which I threw out an interesting thing yesterday. I think it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before. Did you know Max Clare in this past season had more reception as a tight end than any other tight end at Ohio State in this century?
Wow.
It's not surprising.
That it surprised me. But yeah, so he had a better season, I think, than a lot of Ohio State fans maybe projected he would. Or he thought maybe, they were thinking Purdue like numbers. But when you got Jeremiah Smith and, Ennis on your team, um,
Arnell.
Carnell Tate, thank you. How many balls are really going to get thrown your way? You know what I mean? So those were the three guys he said stock up. Cody, I know you've had some time to dive into today's activities over at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Who were some of your risers as well? Do you agree with Vader, or do you have some other names too?
Well, risers, I actually did not get a chance to look at some of those guys, but I agree with what he was saying. Lorenzo Styles, I see him as with his speed, with his size. I think he's more of a special teamer. I think that he's a guy that could be on a team for years in a special teams kind of role. But Igbinosun, the talent's always been there. It's just, can he stop holding? Can he limit the penalties? And then Max Clare, we saw the talent at Purdue. What he did at Ohio State, you can't take that. You can't take away what he did at Purdue just because of what he did at Ohio State. Yeah, it wasn't as good. It was never going to be as good whenever you have the talent at Ohio State, like you mentioned. But I'm not surprised by anything that was said.
Sean, your take on those three guys, as Vader says, stock up for Davison Igbinosun, for Max Clare, and for Lorenzo Styles Jr.
For for one, I'd love to say great job by Vader, like usual, man. Killing it, my brother. Thank you for the interesting news. Thanks for all the information. We had heard that Lorenzo Jr. really did help himself with his 40 time and how he did at the combine. I think he was going to be an undrafted free agent, but now I think he goes from, I say, fifth, sixth, or seventh round. I mean, one good thing about that kid, though, is he's very versatile. I mean, he played defense at Ohio State, but he started out as a receiver at Notre Dame. So that kid can, play all the special teams. You need him to play some receiver, he can do it. You need him to, play safety, he can do it. I bet he could even fill in the nickel corner too. I mean, like he did at Ohio State. So I think he's very versatile. Iggy, Caleb, you're right, man. He has the talent. It was all about the grabbing, and he showed his senior year how he cut down big time. There's a little bit of a tape where he didn't get his head around as much, as we'd like, but that's very teachable things that they can work with. So I'm not surprised with those guys. I'm very happy to hear it. Claire, I wish he would have came back for one more year because if you look, the one thing that he really did have some issues with was blocking. I mean, there was one time him and I think it was the running back, they totally whiffed and almost got Jeremiah Smith killed when Jeremiah Smith got cut down and landed on his head. So, I mean, Claire is a great, you know, mismatch. When you play him at receiver, you can pop him outside. He needs to get stronger, but he's going to be a great late. I mean, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh round pick. He's going to be good for some NFL team. He'll be a steal.
His pass catching ability is going to definitely make him an interesting prospect, I think, in the middle rounds for somebody. Now, you guys, both of you mentioned the versatility of Lorenzo Styles Jr. Mika and I were talking about him, I believe it was yesterday, that he's going to be very appealing to NFL GMs because maybe it was earlier today on the Illuminati podcast. Shout out Mika and the Illuminati podcast. Link is in the description below. His ability to play multiple positions, like you said, Sean, including wide receiver. Cody, like you said, special teams guy. He also can play nickel as well. That's 3 positions on your roster that he can fill for you. And if you're an NFL GM who's only got a finite number of positions that you have to fill on the road, having someone who can fill multiple of those for you as a backup is critical. So if he goes into the NFL and he becomes kind of like a special teams savant who happens to be able to fill multiple positions on the offense and defense, stock way up for Lorenzo Styles Jr. That is incredibly valuable for an NFL GM. The other thing that Buck Vader brought out right here was the fact that Carnell Tate had a great day. Now, he did not run a 40 at Ohio State. He chose not to. I thought that he would because of so much controversy around his 40. But like the NFL scouts were saying, and I was watching ESPN, and one of theirs was even saying it as well, you don't need to clock a guy when you watch him run and chase down a football that looks like it's completely overthrown, and it's like, oh, that was different. He's like, if you can't see that as a scout, then you probably need to get out of the business. Where do you think Carnell Tate is going to land, Cody? Do you think he's going to be a Brown?
I sure hope so. As a Browns fan, I would love to have Tate. And here's the thing about the combine: you learn a lot about some of the guys that don't have as much film. But for these first rounders, surefire first rounders, there's no reason to do the 40-yard dash. If you're already cemented in the top 10, top 15, I don't see a reason for Tate to do it. There's so much controversy. The teams already know how good he is. He likely knows who he's going to get drafted by. So I don't blame him for deciding to forego that.
Sean, I know you
I
want him,
agree.
right?
Oh, I want him big time. I'm a Browns fan. I mean, I saw a couple different mock drafts where it's, he's the first Buckeye taken or he's the third Buckeye taken. I mean, it's all go depend. But I heard that he looks silky smooth today. That's what they were saying on the radio when I was listening to sports talk out of Cleveland today when I was at work. The one knock that the only knock that people are really knocking him is they're saying, well, we don't know if he's a first round receiver. I mean, not first round, but a number one receiver. Sorry about that, guys. Number one receiver. Because J.J. Smith was, the number one receiver. Guys, wherever, I mean, if J.J. Smith goes to any team, he's going to be the number one receiver. I mean,
Yeah.
if Carnell Tate, he could have played anywhere else, he would have been the number one receiver except at Ohio State. So
Look at Emeka Ibuka.
exactly. I mean, Emeka shined, this year in the pros. I mean, I think same thing's going to happen with Carnell. So I hope that the Browns get a chance to draft him and take him. I would jump for joy if they finally wised up. But same old Browns, Cody. I mean, I can see him also trading down and picking a freaking guard.
I could see him getting a punter at this point. The Browns, they've certainly given us our fair share of misery, but it is what it is.
I noticed in Buck Vader's report tonight that he gave us, he didn't mention our kicker who was on display as well. Um,
Yeah. nailing some kicks. What, 50-plus yards?
Yeah, he was hitting kicks with no pressure on him.
I'll probably play in the Arena League or the CFL.
Oh my gosh. Oh geez. Hey, great
Columbus
question.
Aviators?
Great question from Donald Hoffer. Do you think Claire will have a greater upside than Jeremy Rucker? That is
Yes.
a really good question. Why do you say that, Cody?
He's the more complete tight end. We've seen what he can do at Purdue. He's more talented as a pass catcher. He's more athletic. It's not close, in my opinion.
Ooh, not even close. Okay.
That might be bold, but to me, it's not even remotely
Hey, I
close.
like go big or go home, Cody. I like it,
Yeah.
buddy. Go
I
for
think
it, Sean.
Claire has the potential to be one of the best tight ends in this league at his
Mm.
best.
I think it depends on fit where he goes and how they use him because I think
It's
he
fair.
could be like a George Kittle type, tight end where you can split him out. He's gonna be a mismatch because he's so much taller than the corner. Or if you put him in this, in the slot there, line him up against a safety or a linebacker, he'll eat all day. So the only weakness in his game that I can see was the blocking, and that's why I wish he would have came back for another year.
Alex Armistead, who do you guys think will be the starting quarterback for OSU this year? St. Clair's or Saint? It's Julian Saint. It's not. There's not even
Saying.
a There's not a competition, guys. I know that St. Clair. The most popular person on
Back
any
up.
football team is the backup quarterback. Always
Yep.
is. Always is. Now, I've watched Taven St. Clair in person in high school. I've watched him in person at practice at Ohio State. Everything that Vader just reported about the velocity of his football is 100% true. The problem is right now he is 1 year behind Julian Saint in development.
Mhm.
Julian Saint mentally between the ears, how quick he reads things, how quick he processes information. The accuracy of his football is better than St. Clair's right now. And that's not a dig on St. Clair. That's one more year of development under Ryan Day in this Ohio State program for Julian Saint compared to TSC. I like TSC. I know he's a physical freak. I know he's much bigger. I know he's got more arm strength, but he's also 1 year younger. And that means a lot in this offense. I don't think you throw away 1 year of development where you broke the NCAA pass completion percentage in a 12-0 regular season. I don't think you throw that away and go with another younger guy and start all over when you have Jeremiah Smith for one more year, Brandon Ennis for one more year. At least two or three of those offensive linemen that are starting who are returning for second and third years for one more year. You don't throw that away and start all over with game number one with a brand new quarterback. As much as I like TSC, you just don't do that in today's game. There's too much riding on the line. Do you agree with that, Cody?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's not even close. Saint's the starter, and that's how it's going to be. Next year, it's projected to be Taven St. Clair. That being said, I think that Brady Edmonds is another guy that's really talented. So I don't know if it's going to be a lock, but I really like St. Clair. I think that he's big, he's physical. Obviously, as Buck Vader mentioned, his arm. He has all the tools to be really successful. It's just, again, you're looking for consistency, you're looking for live reps, and I really hope, a team like Kent State, hopefully we blow them out of the water bad enough so that we can see a little bit of Taven St. Clair.
Are you going to be conflicted? Are you
On
going to be
what?
conflicted? Ohio State versus Kent State?
What do you mean?
Aren't you going to Kent State?
Oh, no. It's
He
Buckeyes all the
said
way.
he said no.
No.
That's like my wife went to Ohio State. She graduated from Ohio State and then she got her master's from Akron. And when
Okay.
Akron played Ohio State, I go, "Who are you going to root for?" She goes, Ohio State. They actually have a football team." I
Yeah,
was like, "Ouch, man."
it's crazy. I listen. I cannot wait to attend Kent State, the regional campus. I'm very excited. I do not care about their sports. Whenever it comes to the Buckeyes, they're number one.
Yes, Alex, to answer your question, Sane will be the starter this year, and St. Clair will be the backup. Yes, that you are correct. Anything you want to add to that, Sean?
I mean, unless Julian falls off a cliff or something. But I know we got Brady Edmonds coming, but don't forget about Luke Fahey, man.
Yeah, he throws
That
a pretty
kid
ball.
can
Very
ball, man.
talented. Very talented.
He's a Julian Sane clone, man. He's from California. I mean, he can he can whip the ball around the yard, man. So don't discount him. I know Edmonds is the typical, 6'5" kid that's got a monster arm, but Fahey's no joke either, man. So one
I
thing I
agree.
wish Ryan Day will do this year is give Tavian some playing time, man, because he
Yes.
did not
Yes.
give
He needs it.
Julian much playing time the year before, and I think it kind of cost him a little bit.
Yeah. A couple more things I want to get to from Vader's report here tonight, man. Again, thank you so much, Vader. The Pittsburgh Steelers falling in love with Caden Curry. Could we see a Jack Sawyer Caden Curry reunion in the Steel City? And Sean, will that make you sick to your stomach or what?
Yes, very sick. Did you see that during the year after Sawyer intercepted a pass and Tom would come over and he goes, "That's why I love going to Ohio State." And he gave, Sawyer, he dapped them up, after he made his big play. He goes, "That's why I go and pick people from Ohio State because he loves Ohio State players, man, because they make big plays for him."
Yeah, Cody, could you stomach that as a Browns fan? Watching two Buckeyes destroy your team on the ends every twice a year in Pittsburgh.
You know, I've watched this Browns team for 19 years now.
Only,
Nothing that happens at this point will make me feel any less humiliated, any less sad. I just want our Buckeyes to be successful. That's what matters to me.
Cody at the age, what are you, 17?
I'm 19.
gee,
19. Cody at the age of 19 has already lived a full life as a Browns fan.
I
I hear it in
watched.
your voice, man.
I was an 8-year-old kid, and I watched 1-15. Then I watched 0-16. So I've been through it all. I've been through it all.
I give you credit for not jumping ship, man.
Never. I still love my brownies.
Because when I was a kid, at least they had some success in the playoff and made the playoffs. So we had
Yeah.
Bernie Kosar, so I got to see a little bit of success.
W Buck 21. Don't forget Hayward on the line also.
Yep.
He will be entering his 16th year in the NFL. Future Hall of Famer.
Yep.
I'm sorry. He's a future Hall of Famer. You don't
Absolutely.
play 16 years.
First ballot.
You don't play 16 years in the NFL with that much success and not get a gold jacket when it's all said and done. So we could possibly be seeing three Buckeyes on the defensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. And Donald Hoffer says, as a Steelers fan, I would be pumped. However, I can see Curry being taken well before Pittsburgh gets a chance. Let's go back to the well here. Reese Styles, Tate, Downs, McDonald, all were elite NFL talents. They're the big five. Agree with that. The stock that fell today, Malone, Donaldson, Kazmarek, and Ethan Onyanwe. I don't know if his stock was ever high to begin with. He didn't even start and play this past year that much. So, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Let's get to this information here because this was great. Brandon Ennis looks different. That's from an NFL scout.
Good.
Hello. What did I say? Remember what yesterday when the report came out? Why he didn't go on the cruise for cancer? Because he
Yeah.
wouldn't be an Iron Buckeye if he did. And he said his goals were to be an Iron Buckeye. He's already a team captain. He was a team captain last year. He's going to be a team captain again this year. I think he's going to get the Block O myself. He'll be the Block O recipient. And then on top of that, he's like, my goal is to be a first round draft pick. And when an NFL scout says, boy, he looks different. He's crisp on his routes. He looks like he's got a step quicker. That is great news for Ohio State, Cody. Your takeaway from hearing Brandon Ennis is taking a step forward.
Love to hear it because he's going to have a role. He's as a leader. He's had a role as a leader for a long time. Now that he's a captain, but he's also going to have a role in the offense more so than we've seen before. And he's a guy that's always had the talent, but his freshman year he was hurt to start out, and then it was just a lack of consistency. But if he can continue to work hard, uh, come out an Iron Buckeye, and hopefully take that step forward that we know he can take. He's definitely capable, and it seems like he has that chip on his shoulder, and he wants to be a first-round pick.
Sean?
I think it's his turn, man. I mean, you look 2 years ago it was Ibuka, last year was Carnell Tate, now it's gonna be Brandon Ennis. And he's not gonna get the number one corner against him. Everybody's gonna be worried about JJ.
It's true.
Then if Chris Henry is playing the other wide out, he gets a lot of publicity, so a lot of people are going to be worried about him too. I think he's more of a possession receiver, and I think last year he would have had better numbers, but Julian missed him quite a bit. But now it gives them they have a year under their belt now, and this is another year that they'll be together, and I think he's going to have a much better year. So I don't know if he'll be a first round draft pick, that kind of year, but I would love it if he did, man.
I think a lot of those passes who went to Bo Jackson out of the backfield or to Max Clare as like a release valve when he's feeling the pressure, if those can start to go to Ennis, his numbers are going to go through the roof. He had little to no yak last year at all. And we saw it as a freshman. I forget who was yesterday brought it up. His first catch ever and his only catch as a true freshman happened against Purdue, and it was like a 60-some yard touchdown catch there in Purdue, and he went to the house. He can outrun people. He's got it in him. I think you just need to hit him in stride a little bit more. So looking forward to seeing what he looks like in the spring game. I don't know how much we're going to get to see him being a senior and a projected second-year starter there in the slot. So, but I am looking forward to seeing some of that. Hopefully, in the first few drives, he looks really good. I think that is so important for Julian Saint in this offense that they have a second receiver that they can depend on to get open. He didn't always get open last year, and when he did, it seemed like you said, Sean, Julian never saw him. They need to get in sync more, and if he can get open more, baby, I'm telling you, that is huge for Jeremiah. Because if defenses can concentrate on double teaming him and bracketing him, because they're not that worried about the one-on-ones they've got with Brandon Ennis or whoever's the other receiver on the other side of the field, then you're going to see a lot of dump offs to Bo Jackson, to Isaiah West, right? To maybe Legend Bay. We'll see what he looks like in the passing game as well. And, of course, now we've got two new tight ends who are going to get some rub. And Bennett Christian probably get a start as well. So we'll see what happens there with the tight ends. But hearing this buzz coming from the NFL Pro Day about Brandon Ennis is huge information if you're a Buckeye fan going into this year. So there's that. So, Vader, do you have anything else about Pro Day that you'd like to add today?
No.
Okay. Let's go. Yes, Sean, go for it.
There's one thing I'd like to say about Ennis. If you noticed a couple times, more so not last year but the year before, Chip Kelly put him in the backfield and had him run out of the backfield, kind of like at a halfback position. I wouldn't mind seeing that again, man. If you could have him come out of the backfield and run some wheel routes or some pass patterns, that'd be a big-time mismatch.
Yeah. No, that's – yeah. Pre-snap eye candy and motioning things, and that can get so many college defenses out of whack because they're like, I haven't seen this before. And you might just be motioning someone right into the same play that you had before, but because it looks different to them with pre-snap movement, like it freaks them out because they're college kids because they haven't seen that. That could be one of the advantages that we have with Arthur Smith is he's able to do a lot more pre-snap eye candy a la Chip Kelly, right? creating some mismatches, creating some different looks and things within the offense to get Brandon Ennis more open more often, right? So you can scheme guys open, right? We saw Alabama schemed the what's his name who won the
Ryan
Heisman
Williams.
against us in the national
Devontae Smith.
championship
Smith.
game.
Smith.
Yeah, they schemed. Who was the offensive coordinator? Texas coach.
Sir.
Sarkeesian.
Sarkeesian was the offensive coordinator for Bama. He schemed him open all game, and half the time, Tough Borland ended up trying to guard him. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like, what are we doing? That's the kind of stuff that we should see from Arthur Smith, in my opinion. But hey, what do I know?
That's one thing
Uh,
Hartline couldn't do, man. He couldn't scheme guys open, and that's just from a lack of experience. I'm not gonna totally dump on the guy, but that's one thing Chip Kelly was awesome at, was not only, banking plays, send plays up, but he could scheme people open.
yeah, exactly. And by the way, Sean, why did you raise your hand? You're not in school.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you, man. You know?
Just interrupt me. That's all right. We'll be all. It's all good.
No,
Anything else, Cody, Sean? Anything else before we move on to our next topic?
No, I think we about got it covered. Unless you have something else.
No.
Mr. Boggs.
No. Pro day done and gone. I will say this: there was a lot of people who've covered pro day from the Ohio State beat side of things who poo-pooed a lot on it today, and they were just like, yeah, this is nothing new to us. We've been watching these guys for years. We've seen it all in practice. The fact that so many scouts are here, Google eyeing these guys, it's like, yeah, duh, they're some of the best in the country. I will say this: only one GM showed up at Alabama today for their pro day.
Wow.
One GM. Now they had scouts,
Yeah.
but only one general manager chose Alabama over Ohio State. There were over 150 NFL personnel there at Ohio State. Almost every GM from every NFL team was there. There were several owners there, tons of scouts, and I heard the Washington Commanders sent pretty much their entire staff. Which is interesting because, as Sean and I were talking about earlier, they pick right after Cleveland. So there was a lot of, I think there might have been some discussions about trading maybe
Well,
to go get Buckeyes, which is
see,
interesting.
Cleveland doesn't send their general manager to the pro days because a lot of these guys, a lot of these teams, they have what they call top 30 interviews, and they'll take the top 30 prospects that say the Browns will take their top 30 prospects and have them guys come in for personal interviews. They'll send the scouts, which they did today, but some teams the general manager doesn't go. So for so many general managers to be there today speaks highly of the talent that was there.
Yeah. The Bengals were there. However, the Bengals were made fun of today pretty bad.
Oh,
Did you hear someone ask um, Caleb Downs if the Bengals had even spoke to him yet? And he said no.
Oh, that's interesting.
well, it's funny, Eric, is
Maybe the Bengals are like, he's not. Why waste our time? He's not even going to be there at 10. But
He definitely could be. He definitely could.
if he's there at 10, Cody, I'm a Bengals fan. If he's there at 10, and the Bengals can draft Caleb Downs, and they do not draft Caleb Downs, Mika and myself, who are both Bengals fans, we are trading in our Bengals fandom. We're done. Like, you cannot be that dumb.
I'll say this: it is almost unheard of for a safety to go, top 8, top 9. I mean, Kyle Hamilton, he was considered generational, and I think he went 14. Now, I think Caleb Downs is better, but do I think that he'll go within the top 8? I really don't. I think that he'll go top 10, maybe outside of the top 10.
see, I think he goes. I go top 8. I mean, you got guys like he's being compared to Troy Polamalu. I mean, some people say Ed Reed, but he's not on Ed Reed's level. Totally different people, players, but man, I think top 8 for sure. And you know, I met Arvel recent at an autograph signing. Me and my friend went, and my friend goes, "Hey, Arvel, I'm a Cleveland fan. I'd love to see you go there," but he goes, "I wouldn't wish that upon you." And Arvel even laughed about that. So.
Arvel's going number 3. I think he's either 2 or 3. I've heard that's pretty solidified. Um, W Buck 21 says maybe the Bungles are playing chess. I don't think the Bungles know how to play anything more than checkers, bro. Sorry, I've watched them way too long, man.
I honestly think the Browns might take him. I mean,
There's been rumors. I think at the end of the day, it's either gonna be Monroe Freeling or
don't
Carnell
say
Tiggy.
that. Do not say that. Guy's got
That's
Dave.
that's the name. That's the name that's been floating around.
How did this turn into a Browns podcast? My
Just because he
goodness.
plays left tackle doesn't mean you have to take him at 6. The guy's got freaking third round grades on him, man. Do not take him in that first round. I don't care
But
what position he plays. He's not worth it. He's not strong enough.
but we're the
Some guys say,
Browns.
I know it's the Browns, but damn, come on, man. Come on, bro.
Oh, all right. Let's move on to our second topic because we just spent 43 minutes on the first one. This is why in the show notes, Cody, I said if we have time on topic number 3. We hardly ever do. Oh shoot, guys. Oh shucks. We're just too good in Columbus, Ohio. That's part of the problem. We're just too doggone good. I got you. Hold on, Sean. It's me. I didn't add you to this slide yet. Um, we have self, I guess you could say, convicted ourselves when it comes to the NCAA and violations. So I'm going to read for you guys basically the 3 minor infractions that Ohio State had that they self-reported to the NCAA from the 2024 to 2025 academic year. Number 1, we had an unenrolled manager. A student manager not currently enrolled at the main campus performed duties. Now, I dug into this. He was a student at a branch college with Ohio State. Thought he was going to come to main campus and started doing managerial duties as a student manager for the football team, and then decided to not come to main campus, and so then he was ineligible. So it was like whoopsies, I guess. Like, come on, whatever. The second one was a medical clearance. A player took part in a strength and conditioning program before final medical clearance. In other words, he started working in the strength and conditioning program when he got on campus before he had his physical, before he was cleared for his physical, is what that is. You always have to have a physical before you can play. Even in high school, we had to have physicals before we played. He didn't have his physical from the medical staff, and he started working out. That was the second one. Third one, a social media post. I remember this one, Sean. I remember this one well. An assistant coach announced a transfer prospect who had not yet formally committed. he was already bragging about it on Twitter. Those were the 3 infractions that we self-reported to the NCAA. And my question is this: why? Why are we self-reporting this stuff? It's serious. In all seriousness, why do we do this, Cody? Why do we do this?
Well, we did it a couple of years ago. We had some recruiting violations that we committed, and that was a few years ago. Why you do it, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe they feel like if the NCAA discovered it themselves, that there would be a punishment. Now, we've seen in the past that teams don't get punished by the NCAA for doing bad things. That doesn't happen.
What team would you might be referring to there, Cody?
I'm not going to say it. We all know who it is.
You can say scum. That's all right. It's the team up north, the cheaters up north, whatever name you want to give them, Cody. That's fine. But continue.
I think that might be why, but I'm not exactly sure. I don't know the ins and outs of that. it is what it is. I'm sure other teams are doing the exact same thing, if not worse. I think the student manager thing, that's a bunch of baloney. Um, the other two may be a bit more serious, but nothing. Again, it's not stealing science and committing one of the worst cheating scandals in college football history. So,
John,
I
why do
just
we do this?
because they feel morally superior. I don't know. You know, I have no idea. I mean, I guess they try to get ahead of everything and just to show the NCAA, hey, listen, when we screw up, we report it. We admit when we're wrong. So, you know, I have no clue, Eric. I think that stuff is just crap.
Well, here's a theory for you. W Buck says you show that you're paying attention. Claim the small ones, hide the big ones.
I wish they would do that, but they didn't hide the tattoos. They could have hid the tattoos,
Well,
but
one
they
might
didn't.
argue that that Jim Tressel was trying to a little bit to protect the players,
Yeah.
but you know Jim's such a good dude. He was willing to fall on the sword for those guys, man. And I
Well,
will I will go to my death grave proclaiming the praises of one Jim Tressel and what he did for this program and for all those young men that played for him. Buck Vader, give me your professional take on all of this stuff. Why do we do this? Let us have it, buddy.
Alright Buckeye Nation, we've gotta talk about the news hitting the wires this week. Ohio State has officially self-reported 3-count M3 minor NCAA infractions. And before the trolls start typing in their basements, let's look at what we're actually talking about here. 1. A student manager worked a game clock in the summer before his main campus paperwork was fully processed. 2. A player started winter lifting a few hours before his final medical green light was logged. And 3. A staff member accidentally hit share on a social media post about a transfer commit before the ink was dry on the scholarship. That's it? That's the scandal. Now, the question I keep getting in the inbox is, what? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why is Ohio State handing the NCAA a list of mistakes that literally nobody would have ever known about? Here's why: because we're Ohio State. Because at this university, the best damn band in the land isn't just a nickname for the musicians, it's the standard for the entire athletic department. We report these level 3 nothing burgers because we aren't afraid of the light. We run a clean house because when you're the gold standard of college football, you don't need to hide in the shadows. But I know what you're really thinking. Because I'm thinking it too. How come we never hear about these minor reports coming out of Ann Arbor? Are we really supposed to believe that over there, every single social media post is perfect? That every student manager has their 1 to 9s filed in triplicate before they touch a whistle? That they are the only program in history with 0 clerical errors? Of course not. But see, there's a difference in culture. At Ohio State, we have a compliance department that actually does its job because we believe in winning the right way. Up north, well, we've seen their version of compliance lately, haven't we? It usually involves vacuum cleaners, manifesto-sized scouting reports, and a head coach who seems to have a very convenient memory whenever a process server shows up. They don't self-report the small stuff because they're too busy trying to cover up the big stuff. So yeah, let the rivals joke about our student manager and the game clock. I'll take a program that's honest enough to report a paperwork glitch over a program that needs a private investigator and a disguise kit just to get through a Saturday. We report because we're the Buckeyes. We play by the rules, we win on the field, and we don't have to delete our hard drives when the NCAA knocks on the door. Go Bucks!
Well said, buddy. That's why he is the prince of The Dark Lord, is that what Vader was in Star Wars? The Dark Lord, the Dark Prince, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a Star Wars guy. Sorry. Um, yeah, everybody loves that. You're getting great praise in the comments, Vader, for your take. Jennifer says, "Preach, Vader." Mika said, "Preach, Jedi Master." TG loves it as well. Preach it, Vader. So well said, Vader. You're right. We're Ohio State. That's why we do it. We have a standard, and we try to reach that standard and excel and be greater than that standard. I heard a message a long time ago when I was a youngster in church at all places that stuck with me, and that is, as a parent, if you lower your standards for your children, your kids are automatically only going to go to the standard that you give them. They're never going to exceed that. So as a parent, you want to make sure that you put your standards really high so that when they don't quite get there, at least they almost did, and they're better than if you would have dropped your standards. And I that always stuck with me, and I think that's true even when you look at this from the perspective of Ohio State. Ohio State wants their standards of everything, ethically, morality, play on the field. It's all up here, man. And so even when we don't maybe hit that, we still have 10-win seasons. We still go to the college football playoff. We still have revivals on campus. We still have guys who are spending their NIL to help less fortunate people in soup kitchens and things. Like that's what really truly matters. And so yeah, we want national championships, but when was the last time you saw a Buckeye currently on this team get arrested for DUI or for speeding? Hello, talking to you, Georgia. Like, when was that? They've had 20 some of them in the last 2.5 years, and Ohio State's had zero that I know of. Standards and ethics, man. Cody, your response to Buck Vader's take.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there is a standard at Ohio State that needs to be met, and you know, we try to keep it that way, and I think that they've done a great job at that. A few bumps in the road with you had Coach McGuff, his arrest,
Yep.
but not perfect, but we own up to our mistakes, and I think there's value in that.
Yeah, I mean, you got the president, having a
And Ted Carter, yeah,
having an improper relationship, and he's fired.
yeah.
So they didn't wait. They didn't beat around the bush and wait on it. So yeah. So there you have it. Sean, your response to Vader's awesome take.
I thought you were going to say, don't cheat, don't lie, don't steal. I thought that's what you were going to say. That's what stuck with you when you were a kid.
Oh,
That's what we preach around here, right?
oh man, that is funny.
It
That
kind of
is
reminds
funny.
me of an old saying is an old football coach said that he would always chase. They would always chase perfection, even though they'd never get perfection.
Yeah,
They would achieve excellence.
yeah.
So I mean, that's basically what you're doing there is try to be perfect. You're not gonna be perfect, but you know what? You're gonna be pretty dang good, and that's what we are. I mean, Ryan Day has built this thing into a team that we can be proud of off the field and on the field, and I'll take that any day.
In closing, I know what Michigan fans going to do. They're going to look at this list over here, and they're going to be like, "Man, you guys are a dirty program, dude. You are lying to yourself if you don't think Michigan has done this and more. We know they've done more. The
Yeah.
NCAA's called them out for doing more and has handed out show causes for doing more when it comes to impermissible recruiting violations, right? Not even talking about Spygate, not talking about the cheating, you know? Michigan has done this and so much more. They just don't report it. And that came out in the past 2 years that they're just not reporting to the NCAA what they're doing, which is why they got in trouble.
I think if Jim Harbaugh had reported that he bought a kid a cheeseburger, nothing would have happened.
I actually agree with you on that.
Yeah, nothing would have happened. The NCAA would have said, okay.
And the reason why he got in trouble is because he lied about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was so minor, and I think the NCAA would have said, just don't do it again.
Yep.
Or he could have waited until now. He could have bought that kid a Ferrari, you know?
Okay.
I mean, the cover up was worse than the crime.
Absolutely.
100%.
You know, this is like if he just would have been honest. But that's we know Jim Harbaugh. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. That's what he's lived by his whole life, man. So
But I think that's a perfect example of why Ohio State ultimately decided to go through with that, because it can spiral into what happened to Jim Harbaugh.
It does. It's the little foxes are the ones that spoil the vines, right? It's the little things that get into the cracks in the foundation and if you don't address the little things, then the little things can add up and become bigger things. That's a very good point, Cody. Well said. Now listen, guys, we're going to be heading over to Patreon here in just a few minutes. The conversation's not going to stop. It's going to continue on over on Patreon. And we haven't let you all have your voice yet this week. So we're going to share the link and let you all jump on and give your 2 cents. If you have a question for Sean, myself, or Vader, you will be able to fire that off to over on Patreon. We're going to make Patreon your show tonight. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we're going to do that. Cody, thank you so much for joining us this evening, man. Your first time on the OHIO podcast. You did well, my man. Again, I've been watching your rise up. Alex was in here earlier, and he made an interesting comment.
I saw it.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can't find it for you real fast and let you respond to that. But let's see. Tell everybody again while I'm looking for it where they can find you and follow you.
Yeah, so you can find me on X and Instagram at Boomin' Buckeyes. That's Boomin' without a G. And that's you can also find my articles written on the Silver Bulletin. Doing some good work over there with Blake Biscardi and everybody over there. And you can also follow me on YouTube at Boomin' Buckeyes Podcast. We post once a week and hope to continue and building that. So
there you go. So and Cody's just getting into this podcasting thing, but you did well tonight, man. And so Alex says, "I'm like a proud dad right now." What's going on with that comment?
Alex, him and I go back not too far, but he was on the Buckeye Backers podcast, and we've done some shows together. So
All right.
we've kind of followed each other, and so I'm very happy to see that comment.
As much as we like King Buckeye, as he calls himself, don't ever call him Daddy, Cody. Don't do that.
I don't plan on it.
you did an awesome job, man.
There's only one father on this podcast. That's the Podfather. Hey! Oh, man. Great job tonight, Cody. We appreciate having you in. We'll bring you back on more often, my man. You did well. Everybody go check the podcast. Boomin' Buckeyes, right? Is that what Boomin' with
Yes, sir.
No G. Boomin' Buckeyes. Go check him out. He said he might be looking for a co-host. So if you're interested in getting into podcasting, maybe get in touch with him, and you guys can have a good conversation. But we'll bring Cody back on. We're going to head over to Patreon now, everybody. Thanks again so much for everybody who watched and joined us. Great. Oh, he's actually giving us crying emoji now.
I'm so proud.
You brought him to tears, Cody.
That's awesome.
He also said Papa Brian is fine.
I think I'll stick with Alex.
There you go. Cody, I know you've watched our podcast before.
I have.
Which host inspires you the most?
It's got to be the Podfather.
Hey, there we go. He knows how to get back on the show. He knows. Smart. Your daddy raised you right, Cody. You tell him I said that. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you over on Patreon. OH.
I-O.
Oh, scum still sucks.
Go Bucks.